And did you know that each year roughly 3,000 individuals attempt to hike through the 2,190-mile Appalachian Trail? Ooh, that's a long way. But only about a quarter of them actually complete it. Joining us today on Good Things is Merritt Burgin. He is a Delta State University Outdoor Recreation Administration student. That's a mouthful, but still we're going to learn more. And he successfully completed the trail. Also joining him today is Dr. Todd Davis. He's assistant professor and director of Delta State's Outdoor Recreation Program. So welcome, guys.
Good afternoon.
Hey. All right, Merritt, I'm going to start with you. When did you first get inspired to even attempt the Appalachian Trail?
Well, it's a long story, I guess. I have been going to Gatlinburg for, my entire life, off and on. But the first, 14 years of my life, that's where my family went every spring break. And actually, the highest point on the Appalachian Trail is in the Smoky Mountains, which is right outside of Gatlinburg. And we would hike up there probably every other year or so that we'd go up there. It's called Queensland's Dome. And when I first heard that you could walk from Georgia to Maine, I was just enthralled. So it's been on my mind for quite some time.
Okay, so Merritt, remind us. We've heard the Appalachian Trail, I feel like. You hear sort of stories about it, or myths and legends, obviously those who try to tackle it or maybe do it in multiple, times out to hike. Where does it officially start if you're going to do the whole thing at one time, and then where do you officially end?
It starts in Springer Mountain, which is in North Georgia. And it goes all the way up Mount Katahdin and back to State Park in Maine.
For 2,190 miles. Good thing it wasn't 91 miles, right, Merritt?
It's actually 93.1, I think, was the official distance this year. And it changes because, trees fall and, erosion and stuff like that. So the trail changes from year to year ever so slightly, but yeah.
I would claim that extra 3 miles, Merritt. I would claim that extra 3 miles. I would put it on my bumper sticker. Okay, this is fascinating to me. Okay, you made up your mind that you wanted to add this to your bucket list. This is a bucket list kind of adventure, is to complete the Appalachian Trail. So now that you've decided this is what I want to do with my life, Merritt, what do you do next? How do you go from choosing that to actually getting to the starting point?
I guess you have to decide I'm going to do it this year. That's the first thing, is actual decision. And then you have to start saving money. It takes the cheapest I've heard someone do it for is $5,000, somewhere around in there. That's about as cheap as you can do it for. So you got to start saving up, because it costs an arm and a leg to really hike it and to be able to do it and to pay for everything, and so you got to start saving money. That's really kind of the first thing.
Merritt, what are you paying for? Are you stopping at a hotel and having a shower and getting food? So what would that $5,000 go towards? Is there a sign-up fee?
Yeah. So along the trail, you got to about every 5 days, you got to get more food and that kind of energy supplies. And so you'll go into a town. And sometimes you'll stay in hotels. There's hostels along the way, or little bunk rooms. A couple of towns had a free place you could stay at in town to attract some of the hiker business to come there, And those are usually small towns. They'd have 2 places to eat and 1 store. But yeah, that's where most of your money went, was a lot of food, and then trying to get clean every now and then, and be able to sleep inside for a night.
I bet you would pay a couple $100s to do that once you've been on, the road hiking it and the Appalachian Trails for a week or so. Okay, Merritt, how long did you anticipate this to take you? 2,193 something miles. How long did you say, I'm going to give myself this long to complete it?
6 months is what I thought it would take me, but I gave myself a year to finish. If you finish in a year, then you are technically a through hiker. At least you'll be recognized as such by like the long distance hiking association.
So we talk about you saved up the money, obviously. You probably did some form of hiking training or at least thinking through the trail. But you also have to make arrangements, Merritt, to like kind of put your life on pause for 6 months to a year. I mean, did you just sort of go off the grid and tell your family, no news is good news? Or, were you able to keep in touch with them? I mean, how did that, you really kind of transported to a different world for a year?
Yeah, I mean, in today's society, you don't transport quite as much. I mean, through New York, New Jersey, and like Pennsylvania, I had service the whole time. So like I could text or get on Instagram or whatever to stay in contact. But I don't know, it was very different in that regard because you kind of disconnect from everything. You forget what's going on outside of your little walk. You forget that other people are getting up and going to work and like have things that they have to get done and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I think it is definitely a very, very different world. But my dad was a fairly avid backpacker, and so he kind of understands that whole thing. So it was pretty easy with my family and them not worrying too much about me. I think at times they didn't forget that I was out there, but, it just wasn't on the forefront of their minds.
You can say it. They forgot that you were out there.
Yeah. Where my girlfriend hiked the first 1,400 miles with me, and I know her mom worried every single day.
Well, there's a little bit difference in that, Merritt, but I'm sure she felt a little bit better knowing that you were out there on the Appalachian Trail along with her. At any point, did you say, nope, not going to make it? I'm using my cell phone. I'm calling in someone to come get me, waving the white flag?
Definitely, especially early on. Getting to the Smoky Mountains was very tough, and you're still adjusting your pack so you're carrying the right amount of food and weight, and like you're not carrying things that you don't use and all that kind of stuff. But there were certainly points, and in Marion, Virginia, money was starting to get really low, and I had this whole issue. I wrecked my truck, and I was waiting for some insurance money to come in for like 3 or 4 months. And it finally came in Marion, Virginia. But me and my girlfriend sat there for an entire extra day, just really contemplating if we could continue on. How much further could we go? The money was running dry, and we were getting very emotional and, at each other's necks hard at that time. And that was probably the most intense moment of, like, we were calling our parents and talking about, like, okay, how can we get home? Can we fly? Can we rent a car? And all that kind of stuff. But in the end, my dad convinced me to keep on going. And, yeah, they lent me a little money to help me get until my insurance check came in. And then, yeah, from then on out, it was pretty easy. I had like little milestones all the way to keep my mind focused and to like achieve little things.
There was a saying I read in an article that you are quoted in that says, no rain, no pain, no main, Merritt. Is that kind of like the motto for the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah. You also hear people say, embrace the suck. You just kind of have to, if you don't enjoy the worst of times, you can't learn to enjoy it just a little bit. Like, it's a bit sadistic, but, so like when it's pouring down rain and you're absolutely miserable, you kind of have to just put a smile on because it's like, this is the only way to get there. You have to endure some hardships to make it. I think that's the biggest thing that most people take from the trail is like it's a lot about life. You can't just breeze through life. Life comes with hardships and hard times, and you have to keep moving forward no matter what.
Well, we're going to keep moving forward here on Good Things with Merritt, and we'll talk to Dr. Davis coming up next. We're finding out more about the adventures that students at Delta State have, at least in the outdoor recreation program. Joining us, too, to complement Merritt's conversation is Dr. Todd Davis. He's assistant professor and director of Delta State's outdoor recreation program. And Dr. Davis, this is a unique program to Delta State, which Merritt was a student of. So tell us a little bit about y'all's program.
Yes, ma'am, and thank you so much for having us. I just want to also say, Merritt, we're really proud of you. Such an accomplishment, and we're just really pleased that we're able to talk to you today. But yes, we do have a comprehensive sort of outdoor adventure program, one that Merritt was part of, and I think sometimes Merritt does attribute some of his, intrigue into doing some longer distance things, getting some of the foundations that we have here at the program. We have about anywhere between 4 and 5 different courses offered each semester. We're the only program in the state of Mississippi that gives you college credit for outdoor expeditions.
Merritt, would you agree with that with Dr. Davis? Did it sort of allure you to Delta State to know that they had this program, or were you already on campus and you said, well, this is better than some of the other classes I could be taking?
I came to Delta State specifically for that program. My brother was in it first, but when I heard of all the incredible stuff that he was being able to do, I had to be a part of it.
Would you say you and your brother were maybe a little bit adventurous just by nature growing up, and this just sort of lends itself to maybe you guys going on Adventures 2.0?
Oh, without a doubt. We loved adventuring in our backyard, just going as far back there as we could and feeling like we were miles and miles away from our home. I think it's just a very free and creative thing to be able to do. I mean, I know we talked about that. We read a book called Last Child in the Woods, I think, in one of our classes, and it just kind of talks about that, how important adventures and open spaces for developing creativity.
Dr. Davis, I mean, it's one thing to be whimsical and want to go out and do something like the Appalachian Trail, which is what, Merritt accomplished. But it's another thing, too, to think of the safety, think of the different weather patterns, to think about the equipment and the tools that you're also going to need. I mean, no wonder his girlfriend's parents worried. I know mine would worry about me surviving in my backyard for 5 days without coming in. So do you guys also sort of teach those survival skills that go with the adventure mind?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Our program is really developed for ground level up. I mean, we have students, and I have currently in the program now students that have come to us with zero background. They've never set up a tent. They don't know how to evaluate risk. They've never really opened a weather app other than what's on their phone and what's right in front of them. So certainly our program is, holistically looking at all these things to get you outside. And like you said, too, to get you safely outside. I think there's a difference between just going outside and roaming around and seeing what's out there. And there's going out with an intent to find adventure and doing it safely with, proper education and tools and equipment and so on.
Well, if someone's listening, they'll think, man, this is right up, my child or grandchild's alley. And then the next question would be, Dr. Davis, well, what do they do with that degree, or what do they do after that program? What kind of skills or education does this set them up for once they graduate?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to clarify, our degree program is a recreation administration degree. Students can work in parks and recreation, which just today in Jackson, the Children's Museum just ribbon cut a $3.5 million playground in partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield Foundation. And so, but obviously someone had to be, involved in the engineering and the dynamics of the playground structure. That is a recreation administration person. So, definitely the job market for recreation is high. We see job marketability in parks and recreation for city, county, state. We see parks and recreation through campus programs where we have campus recreation, for students. There's wilderness programs, there's therapy programs, and then there's the entire commercial side of outdoor recreation for summer camps, wilderness camps. I mean, and then John Ruskey is taking people down the Mississippi River in these dugout canoes. So, and then that's all commercial recreation. So, I mean, not even to mention the things that are happening on the coast. So, yeah, I mean, the job market is high. In fact, it's about a $700 billion a year revenue source for America. And so I think recreation administration is one of those things where it's not really heard of very much until you start thinking about the things that you do during your leisure time, and you're like, oh, yeah, somebody's got to put those together, and somebody's got tournaments and sports things. So, yeah, I mean, and that's the degree program you get. The outdoor program is a different entity on our campus. That is for any student in any program to participate in outdoor recreation. And the funny thing is that we have students in nursing, education, business, aviation. We have students from all facets of campus who come and take these courses because they just want to be involved in an adventure. I mean, I think sometimes people want to do their work and they do want to do their job, but on their weekends and on their evenings, they want to explore, they want to be active, and these courses are designed to sort of teach someone all the basics. And it's been really successful. We've seen students leave our campus. I mean, I've been here for 14 years, and I've got thousands of students that I've worked with over the years, and they continually reach back to me, or we follow each other on social media, and they're doing things. They're out skiing, or they're out climbing, or they're out biking. And so it's really been, really great to see.
Well, I feel like I'm in the wrong business there, Dr. Davis. Everything you said sounds like so much fun. So, Merritt, I can completely see why you were sort of drawn to that department there at Delta State. And while it sort of helped nurture this idea of extreme adventure, which I would put the Appalachian Trail on the extreme list. You mentioned earlier on Good Things, though, that there was a time where you thought maybe this wasn't going to happen. You were going to throw in the towel, but you got past that roadblock. When did you realize, like, I'm going to do this. I'm gonna reach the end of it. This is I see the light at the end of the tunnel. At what point was that like, I'm gonna do it?
Oh man, I feel like when I hit Vermont, that's when I really knew, like, 3 states left, not too many more miles. It was just like everything's right here in front of me. Everything I've ever wanted to hike, I've always wanted to hike so much of that terrain, and the excitement of what lies ahead, and I just knew there was nothing that was going to stop my feet from moving at that point.
Well, I feel like how long did it actually take you, Merritt? You said you were giving yourself 6 months, but I didn't get how long did it take you?
It took me a day short of 7 months.
That's not bad. That's not a year. So considering the amount of miles, again, that's 2,193 and some change. You did that in, just shy of 7 months. I think that's an incredible accomplishment. So what was the feeling like, though, when it was over? I mean, there has to be a little bit of a depression that this great big adventure has come to a close, or did you feel like that chapter, had finally come to a close?
I mean, yeah, there was a bit of sadness when I came off the trail, but I was in a different spot, I feel like, than a lot of people. There was a lot of people very sad when they came off the trail, but I hadn't seen my girlfriend in 2 months almost. I hadn't seen my dogs in almost 4 months. I hadn't seen my home. I haven't slept in my own bed in so long, so I was just like, so ready for that. I didn't really feel that post-trail depression probably until about a month after. And then it really hit me. I was really back into work and the flow of things and back in life. And it's just like, man, I don't get to take a nap whenever I want to, or, all that kind of stuff. You lose that freedom, and that's when I think the depression really kind of hits me.
Well, that's when you just come up with another adventure. So what's next on Merritt's to-do list? What else could top the Appalachian Trail?
Well, actually, over the winter holidays, a friend of mine from Delta State, Jay Griffing, and I are going to go hike the Ozark Highlands Trail in Arkansas, like 360 miles, I think. So a bit shorter, but it's what we can get done with what vacation we have.
Well, I love that at least you're trying to still continue to find those moments of adventure. And Dr. Davis, is someone saying, man, this is getting me to Delta State. I want to check this out. I want to see what's more about this, either the degree program or just the extra to do. Where do we get more information?
Yeah, I mean, anyone can contact me at any point in time at Delta State. And my email is just tdavis@deltastate.edu. Phone number is 662-846-4570. You can find us on all the social media platforms there are, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook under Delta State Outdoor Recreation. I did want to mention that one thing that Merritt didn't say is that his brother, Marshall, did graduate from our program and is now working in the industry. He's working for Recreation Equipment Incorporated, which is a major outdoor recreation company in Florida, but it's nationwide. And so he also got his degree here, and he also hiked with Merritt all the way to about Merritt? Was it about Vermont?
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool.